Okay, happy Monday, investors. Michael Williams from Let'sGetBig.com. Paige has asked me to go out to a new home that she just purchased in Arlington, and we have just started the rehab on this home. We've started some of the interior demo. The team is prepping for painting, and we've actually got a foundation crew out doing some stabilization to the outside piers and the foundation. So we thought it'd be interesting to take you through this house and talk about the 5 major components, we call them the big 5, that can significantly drive your rehab cost. And those are the roof, the foundation, the HVAC system, the plumbing system, and the electrical system. All 5 of those are required to have a sound and safe infrastructure for the home, and if any of those are in need of major update, they can significantly increase your rehab costs. So join us. We think it's going to be an interesting exercise on how you start a rehab here in Arlington. So different than most real estate investor mentorship programs that are just going to have you cost a lot of money to get some YouTube videos, we are different. We're actually buying and selling homes actively here in Dallas-Fort Worth area. So as part of the Let's Get Paid mentorship program, you're going to get hands-on training where you're going to actually visit and participate in some of the deals that we're doing here in Dallas-Fort Worth. We call it inside the deal training. Now, for instance, the home that we're going out to look at the rehab on today, a couple of weekends ago, my students came out and we had about a 2-hour session on all of the options that we have to make money on this house. We talked about buying the house subject to. We talked about flipping the house. We talked about selling the home as is, doing a seller finance. We talked about short-term, long-term rental for passive income. So we walked through all of those scenarios, and the students were there as Paige and I made the decision on how we're going to try to make money off of this house by flipping it. So that's an advantage you have with working with us in the Let's Get Paid mentorship training. We call it Inside the Deal Education. It's a fantastic way to learn hands-on. Okay, so this is a 1978 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It's got about 1,300 square feet in it. And we're only forecasting that we're going to need about $36,000 to rehab this house. A lot of the infrastructure is fine. We do need to do some foundation work, and we'll talk about the other 4 of the big 5 as we go through here. Not everything needs to be done, but you can see that we'll probably do all fresh paint, all new floors, new kitchen appliances, new baths, but only about $36,000 on a 1,300 square foot home. We would usually spend between $40,000 and $50,000, and this one's just not as bad as usual. Great. The team's actually finished the foundation already. We had given them a map basically identifying what piers needed to be added. So if you look on the house, you can see these pieces of black tape, and those are actually the places where the piers are underneath the house. And so the map we gave them indicated from the engineering report what actually needed to be replaced, and we only had to do it outside, right outside the house. So a lot of times you've got to dig underneath the slab and put reinforced piers down, but in this case we had to do it on the outside, so a lot less hassle, but still a lot of work to do. So they had about 5 people out here working for probably about 8 hours, and it looks like they're pretty much done. So another key indication that there are foundation problems are when there are cracks between bricks on the outside of the home. And you can see here that there are some cracks that are in between bricks from where the foundation is settled. And you can actually see where the homeowner has actually tried to fill in some of those cracks. You can see that here as well. Although filling in the cracks may help it aesthetically, it's not going to actually help the foundation. If the foundation weren't to be repaired, you're going to run into those same problems again. But we did have the foundation repaired, and we'll probably patch these up a little bit more, but hopefully there'll be no more cracks after we finished it. So another big indication of foundation problems is when you have sticking doors or doors that will not close well. So in this case, after we repaired the foundation, it made the problem worse. And you can see up at the top here against the door frame. And when I try to shut it, right, it still has a gap there. I'm putting a lot of force on it and it still has a gap. So we have to adjust it after we do the foundation repair. In some cases we'll have to adjust, especially the exterior facing doors. Okay, this is a 1978 house, but we kind of lucked out. The HVAC can be a significant cost for you. In a 1,300 square foot home, if we were to have to replace the HVAC, it'd probably be about $5,000 to $6,000. And we kind of lucked out in this situation. It looks like this is a fairly new system that had been replaced before we bought the home. It was probably a 2020 or a 2021 replacement. And so all we'll probably do is just have this unit serviced and probably will not have to spend much cost on it at all. So that's good news. So the outdoor HVAC system looks pretty good too. We just need to hose it off and clean it, but we're going to be able to use this existing unit as well. No cost there. So another component of the big five that'll drive your rehab cost is your electrical system. And most of that can be related to the breaker box. So we looked out here again, a 1978 house, and our breaker box is not fantastic, but it's in acceptable condition. Now, according to the new codes that have been put in place in the 2000, right, they would like to see a main breaker switch, which we don't have here. But most times the code inspectors will allow those things to be grandfathered in and you don't have to have them in place based upon the age of the house. So our breaker box is in acceptable condition. The other thing that will drive cost is a lot of times they would like you to, or they will require you to move the breaker box out of a living area and into a non-living area. So if a breaker box, we've had houses where the breaker boxes were in a bedroom closet or were in a utility room, and they don't like to see breaker boxes in the living spaces. So again, in this house, we don't have anything to worry about. The breaker box is in a non-living area. It's out here in the garage. So looks like the electrical system, we're not going to have any significant costs related to it as well. So another component of the big five that can drive up your rehab cost is your plumbing system. And we believe we lucked out with this house again, and we're not going to have to do any significant plumbing updates. This home was built in 1978, so most probably it does have cast iron pipes. And in a lot of cases, if you adjust the foundation, it's going to cause your cast iron pipes to fail. So since we did some foundation updates, even though they were mostly on the outside and we didn't have to dig under the home, we'll do a plumbing pressure test to make sure that we didn't affect any of the plumbing. As long as that pressure test goes well, then we aren't going to have any significant costs related to the pipes. Now with this 1978 home, you can also see we lucked out that the water heater is in really, really good condition. This water heater looks like it's almost brand new. So we're not planning for any costs there. So right now, no plumbing costs that we planned for. We will do a pressure test. If we find something there, hopefully we've budgeted for some unknown unknowns and it won't significantly throw us off our rehab budget. Okay, so this is pretty light rehab. Mostly what we're going to do is interior updates. So we're going to replace all the floors and repaint everything. So you can see here that they've already started on the living area. And you can see here that they've taken all the doors in the home off the hinges. And they're priming them so we can paint them. So you can see that they've just got the doors standing in the living area for now, waiting on the prime to dry. So it seems like every house that we buy and are going to rehab, there's something unique about the home. So not in this house, but as an example, a previous house that we did, actually the homeowner had moved a lamp post indoors, an outside lamp post. They actually moved and installed it right by their kitchen and living area. So a unique thing that we ran into this house was the homeowner decided they didn't need a fireplace anymore. And they were getting cold air that was coming down the chimney and coming into the home. So they actually just bricked off the fireplace flume and the fireplace entrance. So you can see here they just added brick in the area where the firewood would go. There's still a functional chimney there, but they just bricked it off, and so now we're going to have to do a major upgrade on the chimney. It's not a lot of cost, but we want to have a functional chimney, and we're going to remove all of that false brick and update it. So nothing real exciting here. They've just started covering up the appliances. They're getting ready to prime and paint the kitchen, and so we're going to prime and just paint over the existing cabinets. We're not going to replace the cabinets, so they'll basically look like new after the team gets done with them. That's a significant cost savings not to have to replace all the cabinets. Okay, the last of the big 5 cost drivers is the roof, and the roof can be very, very expensive for homes. So this is a 1978 home, so obviously at some point the roof has been replaced, but we can't tell exactly when the last time it was. You can take a look at it. Although it's not in perfect condition, we think it's acceptable, and right now we're not planning on doing any roof repairs or doing any roof replacement. For a 1,300 square foot home, the roof could cost you about $6,000 to $7,000 to replace. But right now we're not planning on changing anything on the roof, and we'll see what happens when we get some prospective buyers in. So that's an overview of an ongoing project we have here in Arlington, along with the 5 biggest cost drivers you should consider when starting your own rehab. If you would like to learn how to flip houses for big profit here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, then reach out to us at letsgetpaid.com. As part of our mentorship program, you can start your own journey toward financial freedom at no cost and no risk to you. Join our mentorship program and you can participate in Inside the Deal training just like this, absolutely free. We look forward to meeting you in the near future, and hey, let's get paid. Let's get paid.